high definition. This is Koin Local 6 News at 11.
He's accused of committing lewd acts on TriMet buses. His targets, unsuspecting women, and this isn't the first time. It's 11 o'clock. Good evening. I'm Jeff Gianola.
And I'm Kelly Day. Thanks for joining us. Jolie Winaga is live at the Gateway Transit Center. And Joel, police believe there are more victims?
Unfortunately, Kelly and Jeff, that answer is yes. Good evening to you. A bizarre story to tell you about tonight. That suspect identified as 26-year-old Jared Walter. As you mentioned, while on a TriMet bus, he's accused of lewd acts against women, all this while touching their hair.
There are lots of weirdos on the bus.
But most don't do what police say Jared Walter did to female bus passengers.
Literally my worst nightmare. My absolute worst nightmare. So I can't even imagine.
This is surveillance of the 26-year-old boarding a TriMet bus. Transit police say just moments before committing lewd acts in front of other riders. Officers believe he's done this several times in the past 3 weeks and fear there are more victims, making this a more serious crime.
You know, the charges in this case so far are misdemeanors. Certainly, with more victims coming forward, we could look at how do we charge this in a way that maybe gets him some more time or keeps him away from victims.
This is courtroom video of Walter in 2009 when he served jail time for super gluing women's hair before cutting it without their permission, also aboard city buses. This concerns psychologist Dr. Frank Calistro because of the suspect's apparent lack of behavioral control and the escalating person-to-person contact.
It's not so much about sex as it is about power and control. It's about some sort of deviant fantasy world this individual inhabits that he may or may not share with us.
Walter was arrested Monday at the downtown transit mall, where Callie Brune rides every day.
And if you're alone at night, just kind of, I think, being really aware of your surroundings.
Good advice from outside and now inside a TriMet bus. Back live now, Walter is known to travel several TriMet bus lines, 31, the number 33, and 99, into and out of downtown Portland to Oregon City and Milwaukee. In the meantime, though, he's in the Multnomah County Jail tonight. Charges include sex abuse and public indecency. We're live at Gateway tonight. I'm Jolie Winaga. Koin 6 News, Kelly and Jeff, we'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Joel. A Seattle man on a mission to dribble a soccer ball to Brazil, hit and killed in Lincoln City. Now, this happened this morning along Highway 101. Police say 42-year-old Richard Swanson was walking along the shoulder of the road when a pickup truck hit him from behind. He died at the hospital. Now, less than an hour before he was killed, he posted a video on YouTube. He was on the beach in Lincoln City.
My feet are feeling amazing, having my shoes off and just walking through the water and kicking the ball.
Okay.
And an hour later, he was killed. Now, Swanson wanted to reach Brazil to attend the 2014 World Cup. He left Seattle just about 2 weeks ago on that trip. Swanson was promoting the organization One World Football Project, which donates durable soccer balls to people in developing countries. The driver in this accident is cooperating with police, and he has not been charged. It is just a very sad story.
Electronic flashing signals are now coming to a downtown Portland intersection where a Portland woman was killed a year ago this week. The white ghost bike marks the spot there at 3rd and Southwest Madison, where Catherine Rickson was killed after colliding with a semi-truck that was making a right-hand turn. A flashing sign is now going up at the scene of that accident that killed Rickson. It's like this one that's already working on Northeast Cooch. And cyclists that we talked to today say they are needed.
You should know that you can't turn right into a bicyclist. But then bicyclists will just go down right when a car, and if they don't turn their signal on, then it's just a disaster.
There have been many close calls and accidents at 3rd and Madison. That, along with Rickson's death last year, influenced the city's decision to put in those electric warning signs. And new at 11 now, a Vancouver woman is threatened at gunpoint, and tonight deputies are still looking for the people who did it. She says that she was driving in the area of Heritage High School in East Vancouver when a man in another car pointed a weapon at her. Cor Harlan is live with more on her story. She stared down the barrel of that gun, Cor.
Boy, imagine that, Kelly. This woman that you just mentioned, she's still so rattled by this. She doesn't want her face shown on TV. And after what happened to her this afternoon here about 5 o'clock, who can blame her? She had just left the Orchards Fred Meyer store here and was heading east on Northeast 76th Street when she says another car first came up behind her, then beside her, and then pulled right around in front of her in the middle of the street and came to a complete stop.
The driver puts his right hand out the window and he looks back and he's pointing a gun right at my face.
It was a moment this woman says she will never forget. In rush hour traffic in East Vancouver, several men in a gold Ford Taurus point a gun at her for no apparent reason.
And all I see is the barrel and I see the circle part going right at my face. I see that and I see his face and I see his like goatee.
She said silent goodbyes to her children, her cousin, and her husband because she says she thought these terrifying moments behind the wheel, sitting in the road, would be her last.
I was in the middle of going, why? Why are you stopping and putting my arms up? And that's when I saw the gun and then my arms were in the middle of being up and I wasn't thinking, oh my gosh, am I going to die?
She told deputies what happened. Several people, she says, witnessed what happened. Deputies have taken a report and tonight are looking for the men who put this woman through the biggest fear of her life. Now, this woman and sheriff's deputies would like anyone who may have seen this incident happen this afternoon to get in touch with them. She has been told by the deputies that there has been an effort to find some surveillance video, although, Jeff and Kelly, she says she did not see these people while she was inside the Fred Meyer store. Live here in Orchards, Cor Harlan, Koin 6 News.
Cor, thank you. A registered sex offender in Columbia County back in jail tonight. He's accused of running a woman down with his car after she escaped a brutal rape attempt. 32-year-old Micah Bills is charged with kidnapping, attempted murder, and attempted rape, among other charges. Deputies say he tried to sexually assault a woman near Wickstrom Road in Scappoose, then ran her down with his car before she escaped.
I went outside to have a cigarette and I saw all these cop cars up here, and then I saw one, it's like the dike entrance across the street.
Well, the woman is expected to survive. Deputies say she met Bills earlier Sunday evening and they agreed to take a ride together. That's when the attack occurred. Bills is a registered sex offender after a conviction for sexual abuse back in 2007.
A follow-up story now you first saw on 6. We're hearing the calls as neighbors are left waiting on 911 while fire rips through their apartment complex.
911, what are you reporting? Actually, I'm on River Road in Kaiser behind Abby's. There is a fire.
You can hear that caller seems surprised when the dispatcher picks up. He was one of nearly 30 people who called within a 3-minute span to report that fire in Kaiser last night. But it was too much volume for the 4 operators and 1 supervisor on duty that night. The Kaiser fire chief tells us he's very concerned about this problem. So we went to the director of communications center for answers. And he says if they had more money, they would have more people answering calls. It's that simple. Willamette Valley Communications Center says they will find out this week exactly how long people had to wait on the phone. Then they will assess whether they met standards. We'll continue to follow the story and bring you updates.
And we have new information on suspicious powder sent to the Multnomah County Elections Office in Southeast Portland. The FBI finished analyzing it today, and they say they do not believe it was any kind of biothreat or toxic agent. An employee found the substance in a ballot yesterday afternoon. The FBI is looking into whether there was intent, which will help them determine if charges will be filed against anyone.
The man who stripped naked at PDX is fighting the fine against him. The TSA is asking John Brennan to pay $1,000 for interfering with screening operations.
And what I'm saying with my protest is the amount that they're invading our privacy and having screenings is too much for what they offer.
Now, Brennan is appealing that fine. He claims it was his right to protest and that he was not breaking any laws. But the TSA says when he stripped down, it forced them to stop part of the screening process at one checkpoint at the airport. Brennan says the judge will make the decision on that fine in 30 to 60 days.
When your coworkers wear too much perfume, it's usually just a nuisance. But a Portland city worker says it's a medical issue. Now she's suing the city. The lawsuit filed by Julie Reynolds claims managers in the Maintenance Bureau didn't accommodate her condition called multiple chemical sensitivity. It's triggered by perfumes and hand lotions. Reynolds says she had to be hospitalized in 2011, and the city never took corrective action. Well, the city had no comment on this pending case.
A Koin follow-up now. You can soon drink alcohol in all theaters in the state of Washington. The governor signed a bill into law that allows it. Small theaters like Kiggins in Vancouver say this will definitely help their business.
It's very difficult these times to run a single-screen independent movie theater, and a business revenue source like this will make things easier. At least get the bills paid, if not actually generate some revenue and improve things.
Now, the owner of Kiggins says that he expects to see about 30% increase in profits. He is working with the liquor control right now, but he doesn't have a timeline yet on when the alcohol will start to be served.
And Vancouver police trying to find the person who took the top off a statue along the waterfront. They cut off and stole the top of the Wendy Rose statue. The 10-foot-tall statue is a tribute to women who worked in the shipyards. Well, the part someone removed looks like a bandana, like the one worn by Rosie the Riveter. Police say they're contacting local recycling and trash companies just in case someone tries to sell the stolen piece.
Looking ahead now, tomorrow is the deadline if you have not yet paid Portland's new $35 arts tax. There is at least one lawsuit right now, though, trying to overturn that tax, calling it unconstitutional. Portland Mayor Charlie Hales is proposing a Plan B just in case it is overturned. He says the city will provide $2 million to hire new art teachers. Half of that will come from the city's contingency fund and the other half from next year's general fund.